Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
Well done. It feels like forever since we've done a video. I think our last one was April 11th, so it's been a little while. We're over a month. We try to do one every month, and this is still within the month, but I don't know what happens to us. Our lives are just busy.
You know, one of our neighbors said that they were going on a 2-week vacation to visit their son in Malaysia. Okay? So then a couple of days later, I see him out in his driveway, and I'm going, "What are you doing? You mustn't have gone on your holiday." I wasn't talking to him then, but this past, was it just before the weekend, I actually had a chance to talk to him. I said, "Did you go?" And he said, "Yeah, we went for our 2 weeks."
Didn't notice it.
I didn't notice him gone. And normally we'd see him almost every day because he's always out and about. He's retired and he walks to the grocery store and tinkers in his garage all the time with the door open. So, yeah, things have been just going super zippy quick. 2 weeks went by, neighbor left, went halfway around the world, came home, missed it.
Yeah.
So that's where the time went.
Yeah, so we're in some weird time warp, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's our apology for a late video. Before we start with questions, I was going to tell our story, but do you have anything to mention before that, or do you want to do it after that, or are you doing it at all?
No, I'm going to make a comment.
Oh, okay.
We do have a couple of questions where people have asked us to really simplify it, where we stand on the point of view of religion. And we have actually talked about this back and forth a little bit. A couple of things that I've noted is that Angie and I are somewhat on the same page, and in some ways not on the same page, because we deal with our spirituality so much, and because we deal with spirituality, everybody's got their own journey. So therefore I let Angie have her journey and she lets me have mine, so we actually don't mind that we're not quite on the same page when it comes to spiritual questions. But when it comes to throw religion in on top of that with a how does that fit in with your life, or does it or doesn't it, that itself in a very delicate way could be a whole video all on its own, and that's the direction that I'm leaning.
Is to maybe do a video just about that. And it's
yeah.
not even that people are asking about religion specifically. It's just asking, do we believe in Jesus? Do we read the Bible? Do we read the
Quran?
Yeah. So it's hard to answer those kind of questions. Just
it's a whole big topic all on its own, and it deserves its own time.
Yeah.
So not that we are not answering those questions. We've just set them aside for when the spirit moves us, which hopefully isn't very long, because I kind of want to do that video with the thought that no matter what we say, no matter what point of view we have, some people are going to go, "Oh, that's interesting," and other people will end up being triggered by something we do. So
possibly.
I feel it's terribly, terribly delicate, with no idea what to do about it other than just answer the question.
Yep. Dive in.
Express what we feel and go on from there.
But if you've been following us for a while, I'm sure you kind of know our beliefs because they've just come out in our conversations. And if you've watched our sort of story videos, and even mine, which was, I think, our second video ever that we did, I shared a lot about, my beliefs and where they came from and what I discovered and what I learned. So we'll go back into that. But if people want answers now, you can go watch those, because that's a lot of my core beliefs still stem from 26, 27 years ago.
For me, even further. It helps being older. So anyway, I guess at the same time, if someone's been pondering a question that does step into that realm, maybe now would be the time to send it to us so that we can combine all different points of view into one shot.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Now it's her turn.
Yes, I was going to say before I talk about our little story, I've realized for our last many videos we haven't explained why we share a little story, and I thought just in case there's new people, first of all, if there are, welcome. And second of all, why we share these little anecdotes about our just general everyday life is because somebody a long time ago had asked us if we could do videos about our everyday life, and we're just not that kind of people. I know lots of people vlog and lots of people, take their cameras and stuff everywhere they go and record everything, and we're just not that. We're busy just living life. I'm not dragging my phone out for everything that we do. So what we do is at least share a story in every video so that you can kind of get to know our quirky, crazy, wacky lives.
Okay.
And Rob doesn't know what this story is.
She told me she had a story.
I do. I always write them down when they come up, but this one's not even written down because it just happened yesterday. We are thrift store people. We love thrift stores. If you don't know what that is, that means like secondhand stuff. So we're thrift store junkies. We go often. And I was telling Rob that I was looking for a flower pot that I already have, like a one to sort of match it for another indoor plant that I have. And so yesterday we're at the thrift store. We're both in the same aisle, but Rob's way ahead of me and I'm not really paying attention to what he's doing. I'm just looking at, what's for sale.
And I didn't even really realize she was at the end of the aisle that I wasn't really looking at.
Right. So I see something that's similar to what I'm looking for. So I grab it and I go to, I was about to tap Rob on the shoulder because he was ahead of me and show him, but I couldn't even tap him on the shoulder because he had already turned around and had something in his hand, and we were both excited, like, look what we found. And it was just so funny and so synchronistic. And when we have those kind of moments, we always say, well, that was a twin flame moment.
Yes. It was. We burst out laughing because we were both look what I found. Oh, you found one too. Wow. All at the same time? Whoa, wait.
And just so funny how we just turned around at the exact same time and we were showing each other, and you were surprised at mine and I was surprised at yours and we were surprised together. And I'm sure the people in the store, because I couldn't stop laughing. I was like almost hysterically laughing because it was just so funny. And I'm sure people were like, what is your people's deal? What is wrong with you weirdos?
We didn't buy either one of them.
We didn't.
That's funny all on its own.
No, I know. I have a rule. If I can't use a coupon, I don't buy it.
And it's gotta be expensive enough to reach a threshold to use a coupon where we go. And I guess it didn't make it.
It didn't make it. Couldn't find anything else to join with it. So
if it would have been perfect, we would have bought it anyway.
Yeah. But it's more the thrill of the hunt that's fun.
By the way, we both just looked that way because our dog has just flung her head and threw her bone and it went thump on the carpet, and we're going, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
She might just actually throw it at us. She's learned how to do that.
Here, I'll throw you the bone so you can throw it for me. All right, we should dive into questions because we're chatty tonight. We should warn you, we're both tired. We apparently need a holiday. We haven't had one in a long time. Because our weekends, we stay up way too late because we're just trying to get stuff done and do fun things. And then we're exhausted all weekend long.
This weekend, I almost need a weekend to recover from my weekend. I need another weekend right now. I could use it.
And speaking of weekends, I should just say happy Memorial Weekend to our American friends. Last weekend was actually our long weekend here in Canada. And I know this weekend is the long weekend for Americans.
There.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll officially go into questions, and we'll try not to be completely chatty.
I have a question for Angie. Actually, I don't have a question. The piece of paper has a question for Angie, but it says that.
Okay.
What would you say helped you the most come into physical union?
When I first got this question, I had an answer instantly. And I've been so excited to answer this question, but also kind of fearful because it might be triggering to people, or it might be like people think, oh, is that the answer to get into union? And it's not. It's It was my answer because that's what my own soul needed, the work that it needed, which I will explain in a minute. So I want to just preface my answer before I answer it by saying, please remember every soul journey is different. What my answer is may not be yours. So don't think, okay, well, that worked for her, so I'm going to go run out and do that or get that so that I can get into union. And please don't do that, especially with the answer I'm going to give you, because you're going to be like,
I appreciate what Angie has to say, but I'm still waiting for the answer.
So, what helped me the most to come into physical union was my relationship prior to that of being with a narcissist. Yes. And I know that some people can be like, how can you say a narcissist is anything but harmful? Like, why would they be helpful? And for me and my journey, it was incredibly helpful. And we've shared in many, many videos that, we wouldn't be together were it not for our previous relationships, because they forced us, helped us in so many ways to grow on levels that we couldn't have grown without them. And this is why I'm saying, don't go out and just find yourself a narcissist. Because
no.
First of all, it doesn't work that way. If that's not what your soul contract is, then you're not going to get the lessons that you need from that like I needed. I very much know that the person I was in a relationship with before Rob was a soul contract that he and I agreed on. And I needed the lessons that he provided. It was very hard. It was very painful. It was a tremendous amount of work, but it's exactly what I needed because I healed so much stuff. He triggered me in ways I didn't know I could be triggered. He helped me, though, by doing all of that triggering to make myself look within in ways that I hadn't before, even though I had done years and years of counseling and, was always growing and learning and taking courses and classes. This was a whole new level. And of course, when I got into that relationship, I certainly didn't know he was a narcissist. I didn't know I was an empath. I didn't know narcissists and empaths attract each other. So it was all just part of my soul's growth. So again, I think the important thing is to really trust your own path and know that your soul is always leading you, even if it doesn't feel like it or seem like it, even if you're not consciously aware of or consciously connected with your soul. Just know that you're always being guided.
Also remember that even if you're not going quite in a direction that you would wish, sometimes you just got to see it through.
Because it's taking you down a path that you can't see the end of, but the path might be exactly the path you need to be on. I mean, did I at all have any consideration of being with Rob when I was with this other person? No, I had lost contact with Rob for 3 years in that time frame and didn't see any potential at all. And did I know that that's exactly what the purpose of this other relationship was to bring me back to Rob? Pretty profound, but I certainly didn't go into it with that thought. So again, it's just always living your highest calling and following the little nudges, even if you don't understand them, even if you don't agree with them, just keep going on the path because it's always leading you in the right direction. So now everybody's going to be like, oh my God, a narcissist? Really? Yeah.
Well, that's that individual journey thing again.
Yep. Okay.
Next question.
It's interesting how this one ties in so well with the last one.
Any insight on closing out soul contracts with karmics? That's kind of an interesting question because until oh wow. Maybe I'm reading a different angle into this question in comparison to how it was asked. But until you die, how do you know that you've actually closed out or have an opportunity to close out a contract? The contract is for like a contract that you make before you're incarnated would last through your entire life, because you can't predict when someone who's exited your life at one stage of your life might have an influence later on again. Now,
Oh,
about
I see.
a lot of times, yeah, with the thought of people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, when you've sensed, let's say, a seasonal relationship, like 2, 3, 4 years, whatever, has come to an end, how do you close that out? That's how I'm looking at this question. How do you let it go? Angie, you have a comment.
Well, I kind of see it a little different. I think what they're asking is how do you get the lesson and move on instead of staying in the relationship for 10, 20, however many years? Can't I just get the lesson, do what we agreed to do in our soul contract before we came here, and then move on with our lives?
I've got a real simplistic answer, and hopefully, I get something to explain my thoughts a little bit differently rather than just throwing out a 20-word answer, which I just prefaced with a 30-word preface. I'm sorry.
Dear.
First of all, it needs to close in 3D, where most people would recognize things right here from the planet Earth. It needs to quiet down and not be a second by second influence in your life in 5D. I don't know if you could ever make it go away, but really, do you need to? Because acceptance of the relationship and what it brought, and also probably what you probably didn't want it to bring, but acceptance and understanding for the reason of that relationship, I believe, is the most important key to being able to allow a soul contract to, in a sense, close. If you don't accept that portion of your journey as being of some form of benefit or necessary part of your life, then you're likely to dwell on it and keep it more open, more active, until it's had a chance to finally work its lesson through to you. So maybe looking at it from a point of view of acceptance will allow it to start to close.
Okay. I'm going to answer it a little differently, or maybe a lot differently. The way I look at it is you can't force a soul contract to finish. It's all about divine timing, right? Like everything has a purpose or you wouldn't be there. So if you're in a relationship, it's there for a reason. And you can't like make it like a checklist and say, okay, I'm in this relationship with this karmic person to learn this karmic lesson and to heal this karmic thing from a past life and to do this and to face this, because you don't consciously always know. In fact, most of the time we don't know all of the things that we've agreed on in that connection. You're gonna say?
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
It's fine.
Yes, you can definitely make a checklist of what you experienced. You can't make a checklist to deal with what hasn't happened yet.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just about living it out day to day, but living it out consciously. Like I think there are people that drag out relationships, karmic relationships, longer than they need to because they're not facing whatever they need to face. They're avoiding whatever karmic stuff needs to be healed. So, and that's why, in the last question I said what helped me the most was being with a narcissist, because every single thing that triggered me and came up, because I come from the understanding of if it triggers me, it's mine to deal with. So I was constantly looking within and healing within and going, okay, why is this bothering me? What do I need to look at? What do I need to heal? And it was incredibly beneficial because I did have a ton of stuff that I needed to heal. Whereas I think some people escape all that and either run from it or hide from it or deny it. And that's what drags on these kind of relationships. So if you want to actually close out the soul contract, have fixed that and it still doesn't work. You guys don't see it on our end, but the screen goes blank. So then our faces go, what happened?
Yeah, it goes back to our like screensaver picture thingy.
I still don't know how to learn how to use my new computer, and it's not even new anymore. Anyway, the point is, as much as you can, deal with stuff when it comes up, and deal with it from the highest possible self that you can.
Yeah.
From without ego and from your higher self. That will help close out soul contracts quicker, is face what comes up and face it from a spiritual perspective, not a human ego type perspective.
Which does lead to a closer path of acceptance, like I was mentioning.
Yeah.
And, gratefulness. Even when relationships are tough, usually there's a few moments that you would miss if you had a chance to not live that whole relationship over again. So, yeah, a little bit of gratefulness too.
Which is why we constantly say how grateful we are for our previous partners, because they gave us the gifts of healing and growing.
Tough times aside, I really, really needed all that. And because I accept and understand that, I don't really need that contract to fall into the back of my mind as if it never happened, because the lessons were so relevant to the rest of my life. I don't really want that to end. The contact with the person, I'm okay to not have. But the contact with the lessons and how the relationship was, something to keep on my mind.
But I think, again, what they're asking is, how do you close them out? How do you end that relationship with having done the work that needed to be done? It's not like just because you're not with the person, your previous person, and I'm not with my previous person, our contracts aren't closed. They're closed. At least I can say that for mine, because I can feel that. I don't feel like there's any more work to be done, because I don't harbor resentment, unless when I'm in my ego. Then I still do. But when I'm coming from my soul perspective, I feel nothing but the deepest gratitude. And I think I've shared in many videos before that I cannot wait to go back home and share with him, like, thank you, because I know he's one of my soul friends. I've had many past lives with him and I remember them. And I know that we will celebrate this time, and he'll be like, we'll high five each other and go, we did it. Like, I helped you do the work you needed and you helped me do the work I needed. So what I'm saying is, I can feel from my perspective that it's closed. I understand what Rob's saying is, you don't know it's fully closed until you're like dead, gone on the other side. But I think what this person is asking is, closing out is, how do you release them and know that you're not coming back to each other because there's still work to do. Like, you're done the work. That's how I understand it. So I think we've both closed out our karmic relationships with those people. Otherwise, they'd still be in our lives and we wouldn't be together.
Yeah. Do you ever completely complete the work?
I think in a lifetime, because you can have a contract for, okay, this coming lifetime, when we both reincarnate, this is what we're going to do. And then you complete that, and then you go back, and then you develop a whole new plan for the next time you want to come back. And then I can hear all of you saying, I'm not coming back to Earth again. I know, I'm with you. I'm with you. But we go back to spirit and we're like, let's do that again. Wasn't that fun? And then we make new contracts for new things we want to learn. Because this is just like a play. It's like a fun little adventure for our soul. Our human self is like, why are you torturing me? I don't need to do this ever again. And I think that often, and I say that to my own soul. Do you really need to play this anymore? Can we go learn in a new playground? Because I'm tired of this one. But that's our ego. So I went off on a tangent on your question. Did I answer it?
Well, I think between the two of us.
No, I meant your question.
Oh, my question. Yeah. I think between the two of us, we still did a pretty good job on that question.
Okay.
But closing out soul contracts, that in itself is a whole topic of even defining what an individual person would call a closing out. Very interesting. Next question?
Yeah.
I've been in separation for a few years now after he stopped calling and texting. He comes to my work a couple of times each year, but even after all the work I've done to get grounded and more centered and in a peaceful state, I still can't muster up the courage to talk to him or even say hi. I keep trying to balance energies when I do see him, but not enough to try to communicate. Need help. Sounds it sounds like that the work that has happened, and work is always work. There's always something to be thankful for with work that has happened. It sounds like the work though has just left a giant trigger and has not dealt with that. There's it without yeah, can't muster up the courage to talk to him or even say hi. Is an intense communication trigger where, oh wow, that hurts.
So can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Help.
I want to ask this person some questions back. Do you think your inability to communicate with him now that you do see each other every once in a while at your workplace, do you think it's a fear of being rejected because he's, rejected you before by stopping calling and texting? Do you think it's build up resentment that is kind of holding you back? Or do you think it's a worthiness issue that, I'm not worthy to even communicate with him? Because it feels like it's one or all of those. And I think those are the pieces that you kind of need to start with. And once you answer some of those questions, you'll get more of your ahas to be able to move forward.
This really sounds like pain to me. Like where something, in spite of all the work, has not even begun to move forward. Because if you can't even say hi to the person, look them in the eye and say hi. You don't have to start a conversation, but to just move on. That person, in spite of all of your efforts, still has complete control of a portion of an emotion. And that is really hard to deal with, especially now since it's been a few years. There's a tool in the toolbox that you desperately need that you can't reach. And with what talking I've done with other people, when a person cannot communicate with someone from their past that was close to them, that is usually because of a form of resentment. That'll be the word that I'll use for this case, where either you're embarrassed or angry, resentful to yourself, or resentful and angry to the other person, to the point that the healing can't happen. The words and any words or thoughts that you have would probably come out wrong, so therefore you're afraid to even say hi. You don't want to ask how that person is, because if they give you a really happy answer, then you'll just be beat down. If they give you a real sad answer, then you might feel some level of responsibility still in their life for them not feeling 100% happy with their lives. There's still a bond in there that's completely unhealed. I'll use the word completely. Maybe it's 10%. Maybe it's the last 10% that needs the healing that still isn't done. It's really hard to put a percentage on it.
Yeah.
But that's how resentment works. Fear.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd go back and ask yourself those 3 questions and see where things fit from there, and then that'll hopefully give you more perspective on where you're stuck and what you need to move forward.
Wouldn't it be amazing if this person got the courage to say hi, and
say hi,
and all the other person wants to do is in a conversation just say, I'm sorry, and both of them are stuck. One can't say hi, and because of that the other one can't say I'm sorry. That's a potential outcome that could just allow energy to start to flow again, not between the 2 people, but within each one of them. So yeah, it's really tough. That's the kind of thing where a person, in order to answer this question from, let's say, our points of view, we would almost need to do not an interview, but an interview for probably a half an hour, just to get the feel for where the blockages could be. That's still a lot of work to be done. Sorry to say. We all like to think that we've done a pile of work.
And we have.
And we have.
It's onion layers, remember.
And sometimes we've all just done a pile of work that needed to be done, but not where we can feel that it's made the big difference. And this sounds like one of those. The big difference that needs to happen, the work has not worked its way through yet.
Or it's not like you haven't done the work, but it's just more layers that need to be done. A lot of times we think we've done so much work, but we can't see our inner selves so well. And that's why, it's so effective to have other work done, whether it's talk therapy or energy work or whatever, just even talking with a friend, right? Because we can't see our own blocks sometimes. So it's not that you haven't done the work, though. It's just there's more work to do. And there's more work to do on all of us.
It's too bad that work couldn't be graded. You never know how well your work has gone until a test comes along. And you can't control the test.
I wouldn't want to have grading, though, because it's constant. The work never ends.
Sometimes, though, you can work on an area and you're stuck, and all of a sudden one of those testing moments comes along and you pass. And you realize that you've done enough work to be happy with the result. Just because of whatever the test was, it turned out well. In this case, it's trying to get past the word high. Ouch.
All right, well, we will move on, but let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you how you are making out with this person in terms of being able to say hi. Be interesting to know how it's progressing.
Maybe there hasn't been enough time yet because he only comes by work
once every couple of times a year.
A couple of times a year.
All right, next question.
Okay. Ooh, it's in a different font.
Yeah, I try to keep them in the same font, but sometimes
doesn't necessarily work. Readjust glasses, look differently.
Sometimes I'm just in a hurry because I do this at my job.
Oh, yes, that's right, too. Oh, no. Somebody coming up to the front door.
No, my boss does not care what I do. I can play on Facebook at work when my work's all done. My boss completely does not care.
I just quickly glanced at the question, and the things that I noticed the most is there's lots of 3D and 5D. Here we go. How does the 3D/5D twin dynamics influence each other? Does a sudden change in the 5D/dream world mean a change in 3D future as well? My example is I had a long dream series of twin and I'm of a twin that oh that I was meeting at spiritual school learning lessons. One day I
That's
wrote a
cool.
letter to him in diary saying that I only want him and nobody else. Shortly after, he confessed his love in dream world and we had many dating dreams after for the first time. Meanwhile, in 3D, no contact now. Could the 5D dating dreams be a sign that we've planned it in the future? Looking for some hope here.
So I'm going to say yes. So if you understand, 5D is like no time, right? Everything is the now. And I know that's hard for our brains to grasp because we live in a 3D world with time. But 5D, there is no time. Everything just is. And in 3D, we live in a very dense energy world. So when things happen in 5D, yes, that means they are progressing to 3D, but it can take time. If you ever watched our story videos, you might remember I had tons going on in 5D before Rob and I came into union. And we were communicating telepathically all the time, and like you, dreams, and so much happening. And yet in 3D, there was very little. We were barely even communicating. We were at that point texting every day, but we were just texting about very 3D things. I saw no indication or hope that this was ever going anywhere and that what was happening in 5D was ever coming to fruition in 3D. And it did. It took 6 months. Not that I want to put a time on it though, because everybody's journey is different, right? So you can't say, okay, well, then, if we've had this dream, then in this amount of time, it's going to happen in 3D. It totally depends on many, many factors. But just know that, yes, the 5D is connected with the 3D. It's just that the 5D happens now, but the 3D is much slower. So it takes a while for it to kind of catch up.
I have a question for Angie.
Oh, God.
Well, that's better than what you would normally say. That's an inside
I
joke.
always want to share it.
No, save it for that other video.
So I get myself into trouble
Oh, yeah. If we're gonna have one of those videos, you might as well get it all out there. Don't tell you. Sorry, we just had an intense, inside joke moment. I almost forget what my question is.
And I'll be there. Off the hook. Phew.
When it comes to soul contracts, we often say that the soul contracts typically play out in 3D. But can you have a soul contract that is only intended to play out in 5D and not have any real bearing in 3D?
I can't see why souls would have that agreement. I mean, you can't say no because every soul connection, I'll say, can make whatever agreements they want. But they're going to do it for their soul's advancement. Because when you understand, when spirit beings are making contracts, they're making it from the higher perspective of growth and eternal expansion, not from the human perspective that we often look at things. So I'm sure it's possible, but I just don't understand why souls would say, hey, let's have a contract where we're only going to play this out in 5D but not in 3D. What's the soul growth in that?
Because they could just do that in 5D all the time. That's kind of why
we
I asked
come
the
to Earth
question.
to experience it in 3D. So I can't imagine if a soul wanted to agree to that, then they could just stay in spirit world and do that. Why would they why would they even bother to make that contract then? I don't understand the purpose.
This was kind of fun to ask Angie that question because I have my own take on it, and it's pretty similar to Angie's. But with the thought that there would need to be some purpose for having that happen in a 3D conscious level, that you're experiencing a 5D communication or growth, is only to teach us something. For example, like patience. You, in order to teach patience, sometimes you have to push a person's patience, and therefore, what's being learned in 5D and shared in 5D might only need to be shared in 5D, but because it's realized in 3D, it also becomes a 3D lesson in understanding boy, how do I word that?
I don't know.
I'm stuck.
I can't help you because you're sticking me.
Okay. Let's try that again. Because a bunch of learning is happening in 5D, but you're realizing it in 3D, the thought that growth can happen in 5D doesn't necessarily mean it's going to trigger both people in 3D. It might be recognized in 5D as a learning between the two souls, but in 3D, the two people are completely differently interpreting what's being learned. So therefore, when communication starts again, have both people interpreted the 5D communication the same or differently?
Okay.
Now,
Probably very differently because remember, there's usually the spiritual twin and the matrix twin.
Right.
The matrix twin is grounded in the 3D, so they're not even going to know about these dreams you're having and these cool things of going to spiritual school.
But he has confessed.
He's confessed his love in dream world.
In dream world, and we have had many dating dreams, but have both of them realized that?
No, probably not. Just like we've talked many times.
Yeah.
Did you realize any of the stuff that I was experiencing in 5D? No.
Nope.
You don't remember any of it. His soul even came and told me, I'm sorry I've been quiet telepathically for a while because I hadn't heard from him. This is how I knew I couldn't control telepathy. I wasn't making it up because he was there and then he wasn't. And then he came back after like a week or 2 weeks or however long it was. And he was like, I'm sorry I was gone for a while. I was on my own planet learning getting upgrades so I could be ready for us to be together. Does he remember this consciously? No, absolutely not. Because he's the matrix twin. He's the 3D twin. He's the one grounded on Earth. I'm the spiritual twins. I live up here and he lives down here, and that's not a hierarchy thing at all. It's not like he's lower and I'm higher. It's just energetically we live in different places, but that helps us because that's what comes together then is he helps ground me and I help bring him up into the 5D. But naturally we each live in our own sort of place, and that's why you have a spiritual twin and a matrix twin. The spiritual twin is doing the 5D work like this person is with this question, but the 3D person is grounding your spiritual work into the 3D world so you can have the 3D experience. And that's why they don't remember what's going on in 5D, because that's not their job to remember it. It's their job to bring it into 3D. So they don't consciously need to know what happened in 5D. It's just for them to know that something's happened and now I gotta ground this energetically into this world, this earthly plane. So you don't have to both know what's going on, because you didn't, but we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
So I'm going to use the word when. When you come into contact, that's not necessarily union, but when you come into contact, it would be very interesting to compare notes to see how close these 5-dimensional experiences have been interpreted by the two of you.
Well, he hopefully he won't think you're nuts, because hopefully he'll have grown enough. Like Rob used to think I was nuts. Now he doesn't. When I shared with him all this 5D stuff I had going on, I don't know, did you think it was nuts? Maybe you did. Maybe
Well,
you did.
I thought it was all possible, but I had no way of connecting to the understanding.
Right.
So it was just all her stuff, is what I would call it.
So what I'm cautioning you is, if you have these conversations with him and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, that all sounds like weird to me, or whatever he says, don't lose hope. It's not their job to remember. It's not their place energetically. It's your job to be the one managing the 5D stuff, and it's his job to manage the 3D stuff. So it's okay if he doesn't know what's going on, and it's okay if he thinks you're strange for even bringing it up, because that's just how it's supposed to go.
And sometimes a person's soul only participates in these communications, dating dreams, really for the benefit of one side of the equation. Sometimes there's no true benefit to the other side. Like, for example, when you're saying I don't remember, I don't think that I gleaned a whole lot of benefit from what I don't remember, except for the fact it probably opened the doors for some other lessons that I was receiving to actually have a chance to hit and stick. It's very deep.
And it's not that you don't remember, you just don't consciously remember. Your soul remembers.
Yeah.
Your soul knows, because your soul was there, just like both of their souls are there. It's not like it's only her having all this imagination. He's there with her.
Yep.
It's just he won't consciously remember, probably, if you shared it with him.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. What's shared in 5D and how it relates back to the 3D.
I just so relate to it because it was my experience. I so get this and I'll try and link the video. What time is it on our 47? Okay, I'll try and link the video if I can find the one or ones that, it was later on, obviously, in our story videos. But I totally experienced so much of this stuff in meditation and in dream state. So I get it. And that's why I can give you hope. I mean, I can't say for sure because nobody can say, is anybody's union imminent. And just as a side note, of course, always a caution that, anybody that's going to tell you, come work with me and I'll get you into union, that's BS, because nobody can get you into union but your own soul. And it's your own soul contract if union is part of your journey this time around. So, it's not like I'm saying, yes, it's a guaranteed for sure. I'm just telling you from my experience, it makes total sense because I've lived it.
Okay. Are we done with that one?
Yeah, I think so.
That's one of those questions that a half an hour after I go to bed tonight, if I'm still thinking of this question, I'll be going, oh, I should have said it this way. Oh, I should have said it that way.
I just love the question because, as you can see, I get so passionate when we talk about like the 5D stuff because that's my world.
A lot of these questions, if I read them the day before, I wouldn't get anything done for that whole day until we did the video. I'd be so busy hashing and rehashing and bending and planning and trying to get the wording right. Next question?
Yeah, it's a long question.
Yes, it is. I better clear my throat one more time. Are we ready?
Yeah, if it's helpful, I could maybe summarize.
No.
Unless you want to read the whole thing.
I'll try it.
Okay.
See where it goes.
Okay.
Hi, Rob and Angie.
Hi.
I got that bit right. I struggle a bit on my spiritual journey right now. Most of us do. I've gone through so many trails.
Trials, probably.
Yeah, it looks like trails or trials, but either way, let's go trials.
Okay.
So much growth and face so many different situations that widen my perspective on life, love, and relationships, purpose, etc. I felt proud and sure of my path and everything I went through. But because of my current surroundings, I've now reached a point of confusion and disbelief in my ability and in myself as a person. As an empath, I've had some negative relationships and friendships where I, in spite of all the pain through them, and as lessons and opportunity for self reflection and growth. I've now come to realize, though, that no one of these people have the same outlook on life as I do. In these relationships, I have given my all to understand these people and got little back but negativity and have been left feeling like it really doesn't matter how much I try to be kind or helping. I'm still doing something wrong. You've had your experiences with narcissists and different personality types. Can you relate? I doubt myself because of this, since I believe that the purpose of life is love. I find it very hard to just disregard their opinions. I feel tricked because of my empathic nature, yet it's in my nature to see the best in people. I feel so confused. That happens. No one of them are bad people. Not at all. Some are just very hurt. But it's gotten to the point where the energy is like a dark cloud following me. I long for deep conversation and loving friendships. How do you deal with these emotions, and how did you stay focused on your path of love and light when facing people very different from yourselves? And whose communication styles are, well, odd. Any tips?
I just wrote down, after reading all of that, I just wrote down what came to me immediately. I will answer the actual questions, but the first thing that came to me was, this person, it would be really helpful if you found your tribe. It sounds like because of your empathic nature, you're attracting narcissistic kind of people, whether they're actual narcissists or just, we all have narcissistic traits, and narcissism is like a spectrum, right? There's like extreme narcissist, and then there's all of us who have narcissism in part of it. So what I'm saying is, you attract people because of your empathic state or empathic nature. Attract these people, and because you believe in love and understand love and can see the bigger picture, you see everybody as love, but yet you're not getting that back. And it's because you're only attracting and working with, I'm going to say, unhealthy people, unbalanced people. When you find your tribe, you find people who think the way you do, who live the way you do, who believe in love, who believe in the goodness of everybody else, and will reciprocate that back to you, instead of you only being the one to give and give and give. But what also goes with that is, it's not just that empaths attract narcissists, it's that unbalanced empaths attract narcissists or narcissistic people. So part of your lesson is to find the balance. You're so giving. See, how narcissists and empaths work is, narcissists will take constantly because they don't know how to feed their own inner self, because they have no connection with their own inner self. They're constantly looking for what's called narcissistic supply from other people. And empaths that are unbalanced are constantly giving. They don't know how to have boundaries to say, okay, I'm going to give, but only to this level, or I'm going to give only when it's right for me or when it feels good for me. So when we're unbalanced, we give constantly. So it sounds like you're frustrated, you're burnt out, you're fed up, because all you're doing is giving but getting nothing reciprocated, because you're working with people that can't reciprocate or aren't in a place that they either want to or know how to. So that is why I say, find your tribe. Go find people. And it's not like, you go wave on the street. Hi, I'm an empath. Are you an empath? Let's meet up. No, of course not, right? But you go to places that resonate with you, whether it's yoga classes or meditation classes or chakra things, whatever you resonate with. It could be none of those. It could just be a running class. But it's also about learning to balance your own energy, because if you're giving too much, then even if you go to these classes, you're still going to attract the unbalanced people that are still going to take too much, and you're still going to be trying to see the good in them while all they do is have negativity. So it always starts from within and learning to balance and center our own energy. And it's great where you're at because you're recognizing I'm an empath and I see the good in everybody, which there's nothing wrong with, but it's understanding that yes, everybody has good in them, but not everybody is good natured as a human. And so you might want to pull away from some of those people that you can still see the good in them, but are they treating you good? No. Then they're not the right people for you. And maybe it's time to cut some people out of your life. Or at least distance yourself from them a bit. I went on a rampage there because I'm passionate about empaths and narcissists. It's funny that we're circling back on our very first question. I have studied narcissists and empaths so much. And I will just say, sorry, before I let Rob speak, if you want to learn more about narcissists and empaths, I highly recommend Dr. Ramani. It's R-A-M-N-I, R-A-M-I-N-I, I believe. If you just Google even different spellings, you'll find her. She is a beautiful East Indian woman that has incredible videos on YouTube, so much knowledge. She does not, I will warn you, believe in twin flames, and she has some videos that are a bit triggering because in her perspective, she only sees narcissists. She sees people who think they're with their twin flame, but they're actually with a narcissist. So she absolutely doesn't agree with twin flames, but it's understandable when you're a psychologist and you've only ever seen the narcissistic side of people and you've not really grasped spirituality because you're really deep into the 3D world and psychological world of things. Twin flames is not her thing. So just be forewarned. Don't watch her twin flame videos if those are triggering to you. But she has excellent information on narcissists and empaths and giving too much and being unbalanced and all of that stuff and how to work through that. So I highly recommend her work. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I'm
just so passionate.
I'm sitting here just listening to the answer, quite enjoying it. I've also got a couple of other brain cells in the back of my mind that are trying to figure out, for the second question in a row, how to say what I want to say. I'm going to go a slightly different direction here.
I want to also read what her questions were because I don't even know if I answered them.
There was like 6 questions buried in that paragraph. I'm all for being genuine, but sometimes I'm going to try to relate to a saying that's called wearing your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah.
When you wear your heart on your sleeve, people see that, and people that would want to take advantage of that, either consciously or not, would be attracted to that. Let's tuck away that thought, but understand that concept. You can also wear your spiritual signature on your sleeve. Sometimes a person, in just being absolutely genuine to themselves, can walk into a room and they've got that, hi, I would love to just be able to help you, all of you. They've got that feeling about them. And someone who is narcissistic immediately, just like a pointer, just goes boink, there you are, found you.
Yep.
And they might not even realize that they're doing it. So, and sometimes in order to find your tribe, you have to wade into the crowd, but not wear all of your signatures so openly. You almost need to be just a little bit blank, which would in some ways sounds like not being genuine. I'm not saying that you try to be something else. Just don't transmit what you are, what your intentions are in life, full power. Just don't do that. And it'd be very interesting. You walk into a situation, a group of people, where you would typically be the, hi, I'm the love and light person. And you just walk in there and maybe don't say a lot and maybe keep that glint in your eye, just a little bit calm. And all of a sudden, somebody else who is very similar to you, or maybe just like you, go ahead, pick a set of words, they have that look, that feel, that aura around them that you would normally wear out there right in front of you for everybody to see. So then, when you have a chance to connect with that person and let a little bit of your guard down, that, in finding that kind of a person, is also a pathway of finding your tribe. If you keep on attracting non tribe because you keep on wearing the kick me button on the back of your shirt, kick me sign, if you keep on attracting your non tribe, you need to be a little bit different to find your tribe. And sometimes it's not about you saying exactly what you believe in and throwing that out at the world. And hopefully your tribe comes to you. Sometimes you need to let the tribe show itself first. And then you find them by seeing a connection. So, again, I want to say that I'm not saying don't be genuine to yourself, but just don't transmit full power.
And I think another way to say that is be genuine, but be balanced. Those of us that believe in love, I'm with you. I can't even show it bright because my wrist doesn't turn that way. Help.
There.
Thanks.
I don't have a tattoo, so I just
I
had to give
tattooed
a kiss.
a heart and love onto my body because I'm so you. I get it. We see the love in
Yes.
everybody because we see the soul in everybody. But it's important to also, I always love how the questions so tie into each other. Like the question about 3D and 5D. You're seeing the 5D person. You're seeing the soul self. You're seeing the eternal love being that is part of the God, the whole, the eternal source, life, love, energy. But they don't always exemplify that on earth for either contractual reasons to help people like us that are too out there with our love and light and we're not balanced in it, or they've got other issues. Like you said, they're hurt. They've got other traumas that they haven't healed yet. So it's about understanding the 3D and 5D and being balanced in that and going, yes, I see the God in that person. I see the love and I see the light in that person. But that doesn't mean I need to go and save and heal and rescue that person and be the helper for them and, give them everything I've got. You can go, okay, I see the light in that person, but I don't resonate with them. So I'm going to just move over here and let them live their life.
Yeah. It's okay to see the good in people.
Absolutely. It's fabulous.
But it's not okay to wade into a pool of lava because someone is just emanating piles of heat and radiation of their hurt in life, their anger in life.
And also remember, it's not our job as people who see the light and love in everybody to make them see it or to help save them or fix them. As a nurse, I was a classic. I wanted to help save and fix everybody until I finally realized it's not my job. I can't. You physically can't because people have to do it for themselves. So, yes, it's all great to see that in people, but it doesn't mean you need to go and rescue them. It means you can be kind to them and show them love back. Obviously, it doesn't mean you go and show them the same anger or poor treatment they're showing you. Show them kindness, but in doses. You don't have to show them kindness of like a giant hug and a rescue and a save. You can just, I see you. I see the love in you. I see the light in you. And obviously not physically say that to most people, right? Because then they're going to go wacko. But give them that kindness in an energetic way or in a verbal way, and then walk away and move on with your life. Simple as that.
There's so much in this question. Something I've been drawn back to is it's gotten to the point where the energy is like a dark cloud following me.
Absolutely.
Going back to the lava, the dark cloud isn't because the cloud is negative, it's because it's been singed. And singe is like burning. It's just that the energy has been over energized. It's fried itself a bit.
Well, I was going to put it the other way. Instead of your light being what shines out to them, their darkness is taking you over because you're allowing too much of it in by giving too much instead of holding back. Again, as empaths, we want to go out there and help the whole world, but it's not our job to. In big ways, we can do it in little ways, which turn out to be big ways. But you're having dark clouds because you're allowing all this negative energy into you. And I don't say that in any sort of judgment because I'm right there, or I was right there with you. I get it. I've lived it as well. It's, again, learning how to have a balance in your energy. And sometimes we need to be kicked over and over again, which, again, is why I answered the first question the way I did. Having a narcissist was, for me, as a 6-year relationship, the biggest teacher I could have gotten, because I got kicked over and over and over. The more love I showed, the more hurt I got, until I finally woke up and went, there's never going to be enough. I can't give you enough. So sometimes we need the hard knocks before we wake up and go, oh, I get it. And that's when we energetically change, because we get the aha from within because we've been kicked down so many times. So it's not that we stay down, we get up, but we get up a new person with new energy. And that's maybe what you need. You need the dark cloud for a while before you finally go, enough. I don't want this dark cloud anymore. And I'm going to change who I am and how I exude my energy in the world so I get different energy back.
Energy is very important.
Totally. It's everything.
And when it comes to empaths, my experience in watching empaths and being married to one is that energy is often too easy to give away. It seems to me that the stronger the empath, the more energy from a protection point of view needs to be retained, and the lower amount of energy that's available to be given, and given freely and given away, so that it doesn't hang around as a dark cloud. If you need 80% of your energy to keep yourself balanced and protected, in theory, you should be able to take that other 20% and send it out there and let it get singed and say, okay, well, I've got the 80% I still need. I'm fine. It's when you need to save 80% of your energy for yourself, and you do the exact opposite. You give 80%, and you only have 20% left to look after yourself, but you still need 80%. That's when that other 60% that joins with the 20% you sent, or 20%, sorry, you saved, comes back and hangs around you as a dark cloud. So it's really tough to learn where your balance point is, where how much energy you can give away without ever needing it back. You give it away as a gift without giving away so much that you give away the energy that you should have retained for yourself.
Yeah.
The stronger the empaths generally, the more energy in the total well of energy within yourself you need to keep for your own balance and protection.
Yeah.
Now that's only a trend, but it's one that I'm willing to state.
Well, no, I won't. We'll be here forever if I continue.
Forever?
Yeah.
Oh, is that one of those time things?
Yeah. It's a 3D time thing.
It's a 3D time thing? The 5D says, okay, go ahead. You've got forever.
As just a closing thing, I would just invite you to learn more about being an empath.
Yeah.
There's a book. I wish I'd remembered to bring it down here. It's in my Reiki room. It's called The Empath's Survival Guide. It's an orange book. I can't remember the author's name, but Google that. You'll find it. If you're familiar with it, great. If you're not, highly recommend. that you read it, or just learn more about empaths in general and understanding our energy and how we need to manage it, how we need to balance it, so that we do attract the correct energy back into our lives and not toxic dark cloud energy that you're referring to.
Second question tonight for Angie. I remember that I read portions of that book. Did I actually read the whole book? I think I did.
No, that was a different book. You read the highly sensitive person.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the HSP book.
HSP.
That's different.
It's different. It's
But
different.
Similar.
It's like when you go grocery shopping, you walk out with 3 grocery bags in one hand and 3 grocery bags in another, yet it's all attached to the same body carrying it. Yeah, HSP and the empath bit, they all tend to be in the same shop of person, the same bag of groceries.
Not necessarily, but I don't want to get into all of that because that's like a whole other topic. You can be highly sensitive, but not actually. One works and the other doesn't. I can't remember. Let's not go there.
Different time.
Yes. Yes. I think you can be an empath, but not be highly sensitive. Because empaths feel other people's energy. Highly sensitive people just are sensitive to all energy. We get overwhelmed very easily by noise or sound, or noise and sound are the same thing.
Noise, light stimulation.
Light, yes.
Crowd energy.
So you can be an empath but not be highly sensitive. Anyway, whole other topic. Fabulous questions, this group. They all tied lovely in together, which I am always fascinated by. And I love how we ended with kind of the topic we started with. I hadn't even connected those dots until we started answering questions. But great questions. Thank you. And we seem to have a rhythm of being able to answer 5 questions at a time, and we'll try and do more, but maybe it's just that's what we need to.
That seems to be our balance.
Yes. Well done. So on that note, we're going to say goodbye because this is long now. Oh, look at that. It's long.
Hour and 12?
Yeah.
Oh, we got past an hour and 11.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right.
That's bad. That's okay.
I'm saying goodbye. He's not.
No. That was fun. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.